Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to a special edition of Movie Goodness here on the KB Radio Network. This is the review of the season 3 premiere of Disney Plus Star Wars A Mandalorian. How are you doing? Man, I've been waiting for The Mandalorian forever. Uh, if you notice, this is my first Mandalorian review. Even though this is the third season, I have not reviewed The Mandalorian in the past. It is not because I didn't like the show. I love The Mandalorian. Every single episode of The Mandalorian. And I didn't get around to doing it last year. Well, the last season was, I forgot what the reason was. But uh, I promised myself when season 3 come around, I was going to review every episode, like I've been doing with The Last of Us and certain other shows, like Marvel TV shows that pop up on Disney Plus. I've made a dedication to review these shows, especially if I enjoy them. And boy, did I enjoy this. Uh, this is season 3, chapter 17, entitled The Apostate. In case you don't know what apostate is, Webster's dictionary defines it as a person who renounces a religion or political belief or principle. And so that lets you know right off the bat that we're in for a interesting show. Now, being as though this is my first review of Mandalorian, let's go back a few. Now, well, let me give you a little history. In case you're not into The Mandalorian and you haven't watched it, which is mind-boggling to me, you need to watch this show. If you don't have Disney Plus, go head on. Just bite the bullet, people, and and pay the little extra. I don't know. I forgot how much it is a month. I don't even pay attention no more because I don't care because I love all the programming on Disney Plus. Uh, no plug. It's not sponsored by this show, by the way, but I just love the programming on that channel. Anyways, you really need to get into it. But in case you haven't yet, let me kind of get you up to speed. Mandalorian is a person associated with the planet Mandor, from the Star Wars universe, of course, and they're basically a group of super commandos. they're just bounty hunters and just they're beasts. And if you're into Star Wars, if you ever watched Star Wars of any kind, Bubba Fett, who is probably the most known, at least was until Din Djarin popped up, but Bubba Fett was a Mandalorian who is a clone from his father, Jango Fett, from the prequels. So, yeah, those are Mandalorians, but they're super commandos, and they have this creed. All right, and they follow this creed. They never take their helmets off. They've been described as like a religious cult in a sense. Depending on how you view it, it's like a cult. And if you really want to know the history of it, of the Mandalorian culture or backstory, go back and watch the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels, stuff like that. That's when they really started to flush out the Mandalorian creed. But in any event, yeah, that's the little Cliff Notes version of what the Mandalorians are. So in the Mandalorian, this show, we've been following for 2 seasons, Din Djarin, who is portrayed by Pedro Pascal, and in genius fashion, if if you will, because he never takes his helmet off, and all we hear is his voice most of the time, and half the time I doubt if that's him under the helmet, but It is what it is. I don't care. The show's so good, I don't even care if that's really Pedro Pascal. It's just a joy to watch it nonetheless, and to hear his voice. But we did get a couple of episodes where he did take off his helmet. One time he had to take off his helmet. I believe that was season 1, the season 1 finale, where he had to take his helmet off because he was injured badly, and he revealed his face to Goguru, who we all know as Baby Yoda, in season 2. And so with him removing his helmet, so Goguru could see his face, which was a touching scene, by the way. He broke the cardinal sin by taking off his helmet and revealing his face. So he's initially has been shunned from the Mandalorian little, I don't know what to call it, people. So we did get some backstory of this in the Book of Boba Fett, the series that came out last year, which centered around Boba Fett, which that show wasn't all that good. I was going to review Boba Fett, but I didn't really enjoy the show. But I did enjoy 3 episodes of that show because it was all Mandalorian. It was all Din Djarin. So I, I I really dove into those, and that's when the season really amped up, and I enjoyed it because of this character. I fell in love with Din Djarin and his journey with Gokuru and the relationship that they've created between these two characters, which is weird that we see Pedro Pascal, uh, you know, being a father figure to Goguru in this show, and then we switch over to HBO and HBO Max and watch The Last of Us and see Pedro Pascal be the father figure for Ellie, or Bella Ramsey's character in that show, and he's doing a great job in both. That's why I think he's been labeled as the internet daddy, Pedro Pascal, which is funny, but he is man. The dude is awesome. But anywho's, uh, we get a little backstory with that. Uh, so we arrive now to the actual Mandalorian show, season 3 premiere. Uh, what an episode! Overall, this was right back. We were right back in it. I enjoyed every part of this show. It's like it's weird because it's been a minute since we've seen the end of of season 2, but we jumped right back in, and it felt like we haven't missed a beat. At least I felt like I haven't missed a beat. We start off, and I really was thrown off because I thought that this was like an origin of Din Djarin when he became a Mandalorian. We see the armorer and a group of Mandalores holding a ceremony for this young child in the tribe. And during the ceremony, the child is reciting the creed. I would never remove my helmet. This is the way, and all that. And soon as that happened, this giant crocodile slash turtle slash, I don't know, dinosaur, this big old thing came out the water and interrupted the ceremony, right? And attacks all the Mandalorians who was at this ceremony. And what a scene! I'm look. I was sitting there watching it, and I'm like, man, is this a movie? I mean, this is some top notch filmmaking here. Let's say this is a television show. You don't see special effects and set pieces like this on certain movies in the theater. You know what I'm saying? So they really got amped up the budget this season. Even though I'm not saying that the past couple of seasons have been cheap, or they were penny pitching, but this was just grand and epic in scale. So we see this thing just tearing through the Mandalorians, and all of a sudden we see this little ship come and blast this giant crocodile dinosaur thing and kills it. And it's none other than Djarin and Go Group. And Din Djarin wants to speak to the armorer, and the armorer, of course, reminds him that look, you cannot, you broke the creed. You know, you removed your helmet. You cannot be a part of the tribe or whatever. And so, Din Djarin tells the armorer, "What if I return to Mandalore and redeem myself? The only way you can redeem yourself is to bathe in the mine lake, this lake in the mine or whatever. I don't know. I forgot. But on their home planet of Mandor, which was destroyed. You know, the rumor across the galaxy is that it's poisonous and it's crystallized from the battle that they were ran off from and all this here. So it's like it's impossible to go there. And he is determined to go there and redeem himself by bathing in these mines that's on that home planet. So she confirms that if he's able to go to the mines of Bandor, if they still exist and he's able to bathe in there, he will be forgiven and returned back to the tribe. You know, so he travels to Navarro. For those of us who watch the show, we know that Navarro is where Grief Kargan resides, who is portrayed by Carl Ruthers, none other than Action Jackson himself, and Apollo Creed. And that dude still looks, man, black don't crack, people. That dude is still in some good shape. And now he's the high magistrate there. And that was a funny little scene to see him with the robe, and you have the droids trying to hold this giant robe that's just too big, but he's trying to be this epic thing. And they encounter these pirates, and they want to go to this bar. Well, what used to be a bar, and now it's a school. Um, um, turned it into a school, and they have their encounter, and Din Djarin helps them out. They kill about 3 or 4 of the pirates, but let one of them go, which proven to probably be a mistake. We can find out later on. But Grief wants Din Djarin, or he calls him Mando, to stay there and be his marshal. You know, so he's not for that. He wants to. He needs to do this. He needs to finish his mission. Go to Mandalore and bathe. Right. So we encounter the pirates yet again when he's traveling to meet up with Bo-Katan. And that was a nice epic battle scene in space, man. That is Star Wars, you know, with the asteroid field and all this here, and we run into the giant pirate ship. Epic, man. It was just an epic feel. But the most epic thing of all is when he gets to the planet where Bo-Katan is. They land at this old Mandalorian castle and walking down this long hall. And at the end of that hall is a throne. And we see Bo-Katan sitting on that throne. Just, if F around and find out was a person, that's her. She's just sitting there, just whatever. You know? it was beautiful. Her, it was the most laid back kind of defeat, disgust, all emotions that we have if we remember her from what took place last season with her, because of the dark saber that now Din Djarin possessed because of his encounter with is it Grand Moff? I forgot the name, but now he has the saber that she was seeking because she wanted that saber to lead her people back to Mandor, and you know, so she could be the hero that she dreamt of being and revenge her sister and whatnot. Of course, you need that backstory to watch Rebels and Clone Wars to understand that. But she's just of pure disgust. She's a Mandalorian, but she doesn't believe in the Mandalorian religion, if you will. She calls it a cult. You know, she scoffs at the beliefs of the Mandalorian people. even though she is one. You know, that's like being in a religious family and you had that one sister or brother who was an atheist. You know, it's like that. But she just does not. She think it's all fairy tales and whatever. So she tells him exactly where the mines are, where he can travel to, and she also lets him know because Din Djarin had asked her like, "Where's your people? Where is everybody?" Because the castle is completely empty, you know. And she lets him know like, "I didn't return with the dark saber, and they left." You know, so that's why she's so disgusted by Din Djarin's appearance. She just like, why are you here? What are you here to poke fun at me or something? You know what I'm saying? It's like she doesn't she she don't have time for him today. But she does let him know, like, look, if you want my people, let them know you have the dark saber, lead them there, whatever, whatever. And so he walks off. I guess now he's traveling to return to Mandor to reclaim his Mandalorian birthright or whatever, and it goes off. And I'll say this was a great opening to this season. So much was set up in this one episode that can fill out the rest of the season. We have what's going on in Navarro with Grief, and we have the space pirates that was set up. We have the tension between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, who is played by Katie Sackhoff, by the way, who's doing an awesome job as that character. Uh, we have him traveling to this planet that is rumored to be poisonous and dangerous and dead, and is it even still there? You know what I'm saying? So there's so much going on here, and I'm all in for it. The only ding I have on this episode is that it ended, and I say that because I I wish they would have released both episodes. You know, well, not both because it's more than two, of course, but two episodes, so we could have got a little bit more. But overall, it was great. I really have no complaints about this episode. I ain't even touched the space whales that we saw. If you're a fan of Rebels, you know what space whales are, and I mean so much. You know the scene with Din Djarin and the, oh my God, what's the name of those creatures? They were in the not the Force Awakens. Rise of Skywalker, the little bitty things, uh, who was fixing IG-11 because Din Djarin wants to revive IG-11, that droid from season 1, because that's the only droid he trusts. So that was a cute little scene. It's just a lot. Everything, it was just great. I cannot wait for next week's chapter to drop next Wednesday. So this is very exciting. Very happy that this show just picked up where it left off. You know, kept the story going. This is true Star Wars. This is Star Wars. Andor was great. I liked Andor. Andor was more adult. It was and I'm not saying that like it was, you know, R-rated, blood, guts, cussing, and sex and all that. No, I mean adult as far as storyline. This feels more Star Wars. This feels like the original trilogy. This chapter was directed by Rick Famuyiwa, who I am a huge fan of. Love his filmmaking. He directed Dope. He directed oh my God, why is it escaping me? At one time he was tapped to direct The Flash, but that fell through, of course. But he directed a couple of episodes last season on The Mandalorian. He's even an executive producer this season, and I believe he's directing maybe 3 more episodes this season. So kudos to that. This episode was also written by Jon Favreau, who I believe wrote all the episodes. So great job by them. Can't wait for more. The Mandalorian, chapter 17, entitled The Apostate, gets a letter grade of an A. Great start to a season. Can't wait for next. I can't. I see. It's moments like this. I wish it was on Netflix so we could just binge it all. Uh, the week to week has not my friend when it comes to good shows. Why they do that with the good shows? All the poo poo shows they just drop the whole season, but all the good shows they make you wait, make you sit there and have your mouth watering for 6 days. Like, come on, give me some more, give me some more. But in any event, yes, this is a good feeling to actually get some actual good Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Other than that last trilogy, man, I cannot. The Rise of Skywalker really just like, oh my God, I cannot get over that. But it feels good to get real Star Wars back in our bloodstream. You can contact the show by email kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on Twitter at KB Radio Network. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, don't forget 5 stars, reviews, sharing, liking, subscribing. It helps the show out tremendously. I'll be back next week when we review chapter 18 of season 3 of The Mandalorian. Can't wait to speak to you then. Want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love one another. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.